At this wooded park near Mount Vernon, Washington, people enjoy magnificent views and hiking trails. But on the slopes of Little Mountain Park, there are signs of trouble.
We're looking at dead western red cedar trees, and these western red cedar died in 2017 and 2018 following a string of really hot and dry summers.
Revered by local tribes, the western red cedar is a quintessential tree of the Pacific Northwest. The tree, however, has been struggling. Robbie Andrus was the lead author in a study that looked at the recent western red cedar mortality.
A lot of other areas in the western United States have found evidence of hot drought killing trees, and here in the Pacific Northwest, where it's generally cooler and quite a bit wetter, we're finding evidence that this extended drought during the summer for multiple years is causing mortality. The expectation from our results is that we will see more and more mortality of western red cedar moving forward.
The struggles of the western red cedar and other trees native to the Pacific Northwest are pushing arborists and researchers here to experiment with the practice known as assisted migration.
So we know that our native tree species do migrate on their own, but we also have a lot of research now showing that the speed with which they seem to be able to move is not fast enough to keep up with the projected climate changes in the next 100 years.
There are three kinds of assisted migration. One is called range expansion. It amounts to moving a species just beyond its current growing range. Another involves moving species of trees into regions where they are not native. This is called assisted species migration. In one of the most prominent examples of this method, private groups and cities are moving redwoods and sequoias from California to other parts of the country, including the Pacific Northwest. Some researchers urge caution with this type of migration, saying there isn't enough information to fully know the consequences.
When you bring those species to different areas, first of all, they may bring insects and diseases with them to which local species are not adapted, or they might be very susceptible to the local insects and diseases. So we need to be very careful with that. I encourage people to do some experimentation. Yes, let's do this in urban areas. Let's do this at small scales. But I think it's too early to start doing it at the scale of hundreds to thousands of acres, because there's a significant risk the farther you move a species from its native habitat.
So let's see, it's about 2,500 plants.
About 25 miles east of Seattle, Matt Disler is testing a third type of assisted migration, population migration. In this type, people move trees within their native range. Disler plans to transplant western red cedars from southern Oregon, where it's drier and hotter than in Washington state. He will study how these young cedars respond to Washington's climate, like how they will cope with frost and wetter winters. He hopes that his work and that of others fills the need for research in assisted migration.
In the end, hopefully we'll have a large number of practitioners who are trying these ideas across the landscape in different landscape positions, different microclimates, different soil types. And I think that's where, in the end, we need to go to really understand how the ideas of assisted migration will play out.
While assisted migration seems promising, Disler hopes other steps that can be taken to maintain forests in the age of human-caused climate change aren't forgotten. Researchers say continuing work such as reforesting next to streams, planting more native trees, and cutting carbon emissions are necessary.
We can't continue on adding carbon to the atmosphere, adding greenhouse gases to the atmosphere the way we have been. There's nothing that gets us off the hook for that. But at the same time, it is necessary to pursue these adaptation measures.
We need to buy some time until in future decades, maybe we do start bringing down the rate of warming, and then our ecosystems will be able to respond more equitably.
Alan Breed, Associated Press.